Many of the greatest athletes in history started pretty young, putting in years of work throughout their childhood for glorious careers as adults. But that also meant depending heavily on coaches and other adults to guide them along the way, and sometimes it ends up terribly for a young player. In today's video, we're talking about one of the most disturbing things happening in the tennis world right now, plus all the other updates you need. First up, here's what the authorities did. After a super disturbing video of a young girl being assaulted by a man on a tennis court went viral, fans worldwide were shocked, and tennis stars spoke out against the incident on social media. The video shows a tennis court in Serbia, where a man is seen hitting a young tennis player repeatedly while some onlookers film the whole thing. But the horror didn't end there. He dragged the girl to the side, pushed her onto the ground, and started kicking her. According to the media, the player in the video is barely 14 years old, and the man is believed to be her dad. But with all this social media outcry, the Palilula Police in Serbia got on the case immediately and arrested a Chinese citizen. The Serbian Ministry of Internal Affairs released a statement saying the police had immediately taken all measures and actions and identified the suspect from the video. They detained him for 48 hours and then took him to the first basic public prosecutor's office in Belgrade. The Tennis Association of Belgrade also spoke out about the incident, with President Milan Slavkovic saying the association strongly condemns the violent incident. Allegedly, the case is domestic abuse since the man is believed to be the girl's father. They also arranged workshops for the parents of young players, just in case something like this happens again. Next up, this is how the news broke. The video shocked everyone who saw it, as it made rounds on social media, and it's all thanks to an anti-violence advocate and activist called Igor Juric, who explained the entire situation along with the video he posted. In his explanation on Twitter, he confirmed that the family was Chinese, living in Serbia, and that he'd do everything to file criminal charges against the monster in the video. He said that he'd seen enough things to only be mildly shocked, but the video still made the biggest impression. Igor did some more digging and found the reason behind the violent outburst was that one of the young girl's coaches had said she wasn't putting in enough effort that day and wasn't listening to him either. This upset her dad, and the rest is what we saw on that horrifying video. He then added that he was aware of their nationalities and that they were two of many Chinese citizens living in Serbia. The one confirmed that the man didn't speak Serbian, which meant he wasn't a local. Moving on, here's what the big shots of tennis had to say. One of the most useful parts of playing a sport with so much global fame is that some huge celebrities will step in and stand up for you when things go wrong. And that's exactly what happened here. Some of the biggest names in tennis, both old and new, spoke out against the situation on Twitter, drawing more and more attention to it, which may have been one of the reasons the arrest happened so fast. The former world #1 in doubles, Pam Shriver, called out the incident on Twitter and even asked for help from one of the biggest names in the sport. She said everyone needed to report the situation and immediately press charges against the man. Pam then mentioned Novak Djokovic in the tweet, asking him to help behind the scenes, and added that everyone needed to work together to stop the abuse. The current world #12, Palilula, was even more shocked, saying the whole incident was crazy and that it wasn't the only time this kind of thing had happened in the tennis world. She called out people who take out their effing frustrations on athletes and then supported the girl. Aussie tennis star Daria Saville stepped in, adding that the girl would be broken forever, and called on all her followers to be more aware of cases of abuse around them and help people find domestic violence resources if something does happen. And finally, former world #1 Victoria Azarenka called out the people who made the video, saying that filming for so long without doing anything is a disgrace. Plus, fans gave their thoughts too. The entire world was furious after the video popped up, and tennis fans did not take it lightly. Thousands of them took to social media to give their opinions about the situation, and they didn't hold back when calling out the violent man. One fan wrote that the dad should get sent to jail right away and that they hoped he would get enlightened there. Others called it out for the obvious child abuse, with one fan even wondering what the dad would do in private if he were willing to get this violent out in the open. Another fan added that since the man was her dad, she'd probably been dealing with this kind of abuse her whole life, which made things even worse for her. People also said they hoped the whole thing was staged or a PR stunt, since it was too horrendous to be real. Even more angry fans flooded social media, saying the father should be banned from ever entering any tennis tournaments again, and almost every fan seemed to agree that he should face criminal charges for what he did. Another fan called out former tennis player Renee Stubbs, who now works as a commentator for the sport. They mentioned her in a tweet, and once she noticed it, she was just as angry as everyone else. She mentioned that it happens all the time in tennis, but unfortunately, not many people get it on film. Moving on, this tennis star was super vocal. While many big names in the game spoke up for the girl in the video, and she currently has a lot of support from the tennis world, one star in particular had a lot to say, and it might be because she relates relates too much to what's happening in the video. Jelena Dokic, the tennis commentator and former world number 4 from Australia, posted screenshots from the video on her Instagram, along with a caption that went into a lot of detail about how she felt. The player said she threw up after watching the video, especially after having also dealt with her own experiences. She said that while most people look at the video and think it's brutal, it's another day for people who grew up being abused. She made a huge point that more people need to start speaking up and that federations and tennis governing bodies need to play their roles. She also called out all the tennis journalists worldwide who focused more on Grand Slam wins and tennis romances and asked them who would speak up for the girl. She then said that from personal experience, she knows nobody would want to defend her. Jelena acknowledged that the video was tough for most people to watch, but the reality behind it all was much worse, and she even talked about how many players are killed or end their lives because of the non-stop abuse they have to deal with. Lastly, here's the reality behind her post. Many tennis players spoke out about the situation, but why did Jelena feel so passionate about it? While everyone else did nothing but a tweet, she wrote a full caption about how terrible the video made her feel, and it's because she grew up dealing with the same thing behind closed doors. Patrick Mouratoglou, who used to coach Serena Williams, commented on her post saying that he agreed with her and that the whole thing had nothing to do with tennis, but more with mentally sick people who destroy their children's lives this way. He also mentioned her book, Unbreakable, in which she detailed just how bad the abuse had been from her father, Damir. She revealed that she would be beaten up regularly with a belt or boot. Once, she was knocked unconscious. She also admitted that it wasn't even a big reason most of the time. It could be anything from a mediocre training session to a bad mood from her dad. She added that she rarely ever lost matches, but the punishment was violent and terrifying when she did. He'd also make her take off her shirt, since hitting her with a belt would hurt less if she had a shirt on. At one point, she began accepting the abuse as normal. Apart from the physical part, he was also known to abuse her emotionally. That's a wrap for this video. How did you react to the video? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.